Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Well, I'm trying to get fancy here. Trying to figure out how to make the curve on the outside wheel well. Now, doesn't that just look pretty? So, jumping forward here a bit. Though, sorry for the screen going the other way there for a second. But those ratchet straps, as you could see through the inside, were holding in a plate that I put up to the side of the fender here just to get a curve to it. And I've been toying and messing and trying different things, figuring out how to get the right curve and how to get this strip to follow that line. And I just decided you might as well just start hacking and whacking, cut out the rust, and see where it leads. So I do have a panel here. Kind of an odd shape, but it is made to fit right in there on that line. A little bit of overlap for the weld, and it is going to come underneath and attach to that angle, which is part of that little frame there that you see, that kind of a wedge frame that I've made. And that's what I'm going to try to attach the bottom of this panel to. Kind of bend it around and see if I can get some kind of curve going on with this thing. And hopefully make it look good. There we go. Got that back panel tacked in there all nice. It went in really good up top, nice and tight. There's no gap at all between that panel. Nice transition all the way under. Right to where my broke edge is. Got a little angle that goes across. And then it is tack welded along that angle bar underneath. So that looks good. Now, I probably could have waited to put this on later, but whatever. It is what it is. But now what I got to do is inside here, I shouldn't say now, but this will get cut off. This piece here is all going to get cut off. That's going to follow that transition down and underneath of that wheel well all the way back to that skirt there. So things are coming along pretty good. There's not a lot of videoing I can do. It's just literally sitting on my butt in the cold concrete, pushing this metal around and making little tacks. But I have completed the main part of the structure. I now have a new car the whole way across, including that big pocket that holds that bumper in. So this whole thing has come along really good. There's almost no warping at all in this. Now it's only tack welded, of course, for now, but it's now all cold to the touch. And what I plan on doing is tack welding just to the side of every single tack that's already there, leaving it go completely cool by hand slowly, and then coming back and doing it again. It'll probably take about 4 runs. I'm sure it'll take just over an hour to do, but I think it's better to be a little safe, do this slowly, keep the warping down, and I'll be much happier in the end. I'll have less to do. Now, down on here though, these holes that you see here, there we go. These are holes that take the bolts that hold the trim on. They're the whole way around this car. Those aren't the holes I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is right down here. Now, there's a piece here that's completely gone. There's this ridge. It's like a little rib that comes down and it tapers off and it disappears underneath the car. The bumper kind of hides most of the end of it. But there's a hole here in the side that I couldn't get a piece of metal up inside of when I was welding. So I need to fix that. And I'm thinking I might just do spot welds to fill that in and kind of feather that out with the edge of a grinding wheel. And then run a flap wheel across it. And then also, if you see here, there's 3/16, maybe even getting closer to 1/4 of an inch of this little ridge that's missing. Now, I don't want to just fill it with body fill. It'll end up cracking and falling off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start down low here with some low heat. It's going to be kind of a crappy weld, but I'm not really looking for any strength other than it just to stay on the panel. And I'm just going to run balls, almost like bubblegum weld, up to the edge, fill it in, and then I'll grind it down smooth with a grinder. And then I'll finish it off with a little bit of putty on the outside just to smooth off the edges. But all in all, it's turning out really good. Now keep in mind, there is this big dent down the side of the fender here that I still got to work on. It's fully accessible to the inside here. so I'll be using a dolly. But if I look at my panel that I've done, it is straight as an arrow. It has turned out really good. I'm coming back from this side as you look at the car kind of coming at you. That angle is almost perfect right up there. Now there's a little bit of a low spot there, barely anything. I'll work on that with a little dolly hammer. And also right here, it's actually up a little bit where it's kind of warped just a hair on the bottom of the metal. Once this is all welded, I'll be able to work inside with a hammer and a dolly on the outside here and just round it out just like a standard body panel. But all in all, it's definitely coming around good. Now my next step is I'm going to get rid of this piece. It's kind of in the way. I should have waited to the end to do this, but I thought, it was a good idea at the time, but I got ahead of myself. But I have to cut this off, get out of the way, because this fender where it comes out square here that you see, it's got to go all the way back to this point right here. So, and it's going to be on the outside, it's going to be a nice gentle curve all the way up to here. I'll have to get a piece of paper, kind of lay it in, just so I can have that perfect symmetrical curve all the way to the bottom. And everything I do, I'll have to save all my templates, just like my templates I've been saving, making these corner pieces. Because once this is done, I got to do the exact same thing to the other side and make it look not noticeably different. Oh, she's time to take a break. Been out here for a couple hours doing this. Not getting a lot done, but I'm taking my time. I've managed to get a complete weld around all that panel with very minimal warpage. I can just barely feel a warp in there. It's doing really good. This low point here that we're showing before, it's actually got a little better. It kind of pushed down a little bit. It still needs to be worked on with a dolly. But I also cut my curve in for the back of the wheel well there. And I started putting in all my edging all the way around. Now the only thing I got left to weld is I got about half of this left. Half my lines are in. I still got to weld some parts of the main fender. And then also down the bottom here, right down there, I got to cut that off and terminate that lower piece. So I hit that panel with the flappy wheel, but I'm getting a little impatient and doing metal work for the last so many days. I decided, you know what? I want to kind of finish this off a little bit on this side. Just to see what it's going to look like. See what my end result's going to be. So I did a little Bondo, a little body work. This is just the first coat. I've gone through, after all my weld holes were filled, I ground those down with the flappy disc, and I just started working in my low spots. This turned out really good around the fender. I'm really happy with that. There's a couple low spots here and there that I got to work on and sand out. The transitions on the front and back is pretty good here. That big dent that was across here, I worked it out a little bit with a dolly. Well, just a flat piece of metal and a hammer. And it didn't really go the way I was hoping. So I just put another little spot in here. It was about an 1/8-inch divot there. And all in all, though, it's not too bad. You can see the different colors in the Bondo. They could put a little extra or a little less filler in here or hardener. I let it sit overnight, and I just come out here this morning and gave her a little sanding down. It definitely needs another coat, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. The metal having no rust behind this is going to be the biggest thing, not having to bleed through. But I am going to go and give it one more skim coat of Bondo here today. Maybe throw a little paint on it. But that's going to be the end of this video. Hope everyone's having a great week, great weekend. I got myself some more wood. Kind of loaded up in here. Truck's still full too. Got a fire cooking. And then I'm going to have myself a little refreshment here in a while. But anyway, as always, thanks for stopping by. Subscribe if it's your first time. I'd love to have you along. Really want to get to 1,000 viewers on this platform, on YouTube here. And yeah, catch you guys again next week.